In the spring of 1997, the world felt like it was on the cusp of a new millennium. The internet was just beginning to connect us in ways we never imagined, and the future seemed boundless. But in a quiet, affluent corner of Southern California, a story was unfolding that would serve as a dark counterpoint to that optimism. It began with a single, anonymous tip, a call that led authorities to a sprawling mansion in Rancho Santa Fe, a place where the silence was deafening. On March 26th, what they discovered inside would send shockwaves across the nation. 39 people deceased. It wasn't a scene of violence, but one of eerie, coordinated calm. Each person was found lying peacefully, dressed in identical black tracksuits and brand new Nike sneakers, a purple shroud covering their face and torso. The scene was meticulously staged, a final silent statement. The question on everyone's mind was immediate and overwhelming. Why? The truth was far stranger than anyone could have guessed. This is the story of Heaven's Gate. To understand what happened in that mansion, we have to go back more than 2 decades to the meeting of 2 individuals who believed they were destined for a cosmic purpose. Marshall Applewhite was a former music professor, a charismatic man with a powerful voice and a troubled past. In 1972, he checked himself into a psychiatric hospital, struggling with his identity and claiming to hear voices. It was there he met Bonnie Nettles, a nurse with a deep interest in theology, prophecy, and UFOs. They formed an immediate, intense bond, believing they were the 2 witnesses foretold in the Book of Revelation. They saw themselves not as mere mortals, but as extraterrestrial beings sent to Earth on a divine mission. Applewhite became Dew, and Nettles became Ty. Together, they left their families, their jobs, and their old lives behind, embarking on a journey to awaken others to their supposed truth. They were the shepherds, and they were ready to gather their flock. The core beliefs of what would become Heaven's Gate were a unique blend of Christian apocalypticism, New Age spirituality, and science fiction. Dew and Ty taught that the earth was a garden for souls to be cultivated, but it was about to be recycled or wiped clean. The only way to survive was to evolve to a higher plane of existence, what they called the next level. This wasn't a metaphorical heaven. It was a literal, physical kingdom in space, inhabited by genderless, technologically advanced extraterrestrials. To get there, a follower had to shed every attachment to their human life, their family, friends, possessions, jobs, and even their gender identity and sexuality. The human body was merely a container or a vehicle that had to be perfected and then abandoned to allow the soul to ascend. This process of overcoming human-level attachments was called the process, a long and arduous spiritual curriculum designed to purify the mind and spirit for the journey ahead. Life inside the group was highly structured and disciplined. Members lived communally, sharing everything. They adopted new androgynous names and wore modest uniform clothing to minimize individuality and gender distinction. Their days were scheduled down to the minute, filled with chores, study sessions of Dew's teachings, and work. In the 90s, they supported themselves through a successful web design business called Higher Source, building websites for clients who were often unaware of their designer's unique belief system. Control was maintained through a system of strict rules and constant self-evaluation. Members were paired with a check partner to monitor each other's thoughts and behaviors, reporting any human tendencies. This created an environment of intense peer pressure, where the desire for approval from Dew and the group became paramount. They were isolated from the outside world, with their only source of information being Applewhite himself. He was their teacher, their leader, and, in their eyes, their only link to salvation. The catalyst for the group's final act arrived in the form of a celestial event. In 1995, the comet Hale-Bopp was discovered, and by 1997, it was a spectacular sight in the night sky. For Heaven's Gate, this was the sign they had been waiting for. After Bonnie Nettles, Ty, had passed away from cancer in 1985, Applewhite had revised their theology. The next level beings would no longer pick them up in person. Instead, a spacecraft was traveling in the wake of the comet, and the only way to reach it was to shed their physical containers. In their final days, the group was calm and methodical. They recorded exit videos, individual messages explaining their beliefs and their joy at the prospect of finally graduating to the next level. They went out for a final meal at a local restaurant. Then, over the course of 3 days, in shifts, the 39 members ingested a fatal mixture and peacefully lay down to await their journey. Their mission, as they saw it, was complete. The aftermath was a media frenzy. The story of the UFO cult dominated headlines, becoming a cultural touchstone and, for many, a punchline. But behind the sensationalism was a human tragedy. These were not mindless drones. They were people, seekers, idealists, individuals who had been searching for answers and a sense of belonging. They were sons, daughters, brothers, and sisters who had found a family in each other, and a powerful, all-consuming purpose in the words of Marshall Applewhite. Scholars of religion point out that while their beliefs may seem bizarre, the mechanisms of commitment and social isolation within Heaven's Gate are not unique. The story serves as a profound case study in charisma, control, and the human need for meaning. It forces us to look beyond the strange surface and ask deeper questions about belief, persuasion, and vulnerability. The legacy of Heaven's Gate is a sobering reminder that powerful ideologies, especially when combined with isolation, can lead people to make choices that are incomprehensible to the outside world. It highlights the critical importance of maintaining connections to diverse perspectives and questioning claims that demand absolute loyalty. Charisma can be compelling, but it should never replace critical thought. If you or someone you know is struggling with overwhelming group pressure or isolating beliefs, it's important to know that help is available. Reaching out to a mental health professional or a support organization can provide a safe space to talk and find a path forward. The story is not just about how 39 lives ended, but about how they were lived and the universal human search that led them to that quiet house in Rancho Santa Fe.